Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt.
Oscar BEVIS, IFL TV, MTK Global. Delighted to be joined via Zoom by my good mate, John Ryder. How are we, John?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Long time no see.
A year since Liverpool. It's gone quickly, isn't it? A year is a long time, but it's gone very quickly.
A year since we both made a name for ourselves.
You a bit more than me, I'd say. Can we actually talk about the aftermath, right? Because I think a lot of people don't realise how it works. Like, they might see you and Tony go into the press conference that's held, and then Joe and Callum go in, and you both go your separate ways. But it was quite heated back there. I mean, I think there was family and friends who got backstage and sort of arguing over the result of the fight, and Eddie was getting bombarded from all sides. Barker and Lloyd were laying into him. It was carnage that night, wasn't it?
Well, and you were slithering about, as a few people might say. No, you know what? It was a good night. I think it might have made both our careers, to be fair.
Positive memories looking back on it now?
You've not stopped working since, so you've done you all right, haven't it?
Yeah, it's done me a favour. It's done me a bit of a favour. But do you have like positive memories looking back on it now? I mean, I know things didn't go your way, but the response from the fans was positive and has been surrounding you for the last year or so.
No, look, the response from the fans has been amazing, like heartwarming to an extent. Like initially, the first kind of few weeks, it was like, this is nice, like nice to see it that way. Then after that, it was a bit like, piss them off a bit now. If so many people see it this way, why have the judges not seen it that way? And like, why am I not sitting in now with a few nice belts from my waist? So, yeah, I mean, good and bad from it. I mean, an experience, went in against a good world champion and didn't do myself any damage. I mean, I've come out of it with a lot of credibility. I should have been world champion, but I mean, we live and we learn. I mean, I'm good to fight another day, and I mean, a lot of people get to that stage and they might get knocked out, and then that's their career over. But I'm good to go again. I've taken a lot of credibility from it, and bigger and better opportunities should come.
Because you haven't been able to get back in the ring, and neither has Callum. I know, obviously, we'll talk about the Canelo fight that's scheduled in a while, but because you haven't been able to get back in the ring, is that why it's so fresh in people's memories?
Well, I feel it is, yeah, because everyone's just looking back, and you know what everyone's like. They read box rec, and it's like they're all like an expert at boxing, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think where we're both each other's last fight is frustrating on my part, and I imagine it's frustrating on his part. Do you know what I mean? So we're both each other's last opponent. It's still so fresh in people's minds, and I think for us both to move forward with our careers, we both need to have another fight and just crack on and just really look to the future. He's obviously got it now with Canelo, and I'm hoping to have some news in the next week or coming days when I'll be out. It will be before Christmas, so get out, get a 10-round run out, and build to a big 2021.
Obviously, what happened that night's no slight on Callum. Like you said, it's sort of on the judge's shoulders. But any bitterness or ill feeling that was there, because I imagine there was some there, and you'd be right to feel that way. Has that disappeared?
Well, yeah, like, do you know what I mean? He's fighting the biggest star in boxing, do you know what I mean? So give the geezer a break, do you know what I mean? He's got his work cut out as it is, and I wish him nothing but the best, do you know what I mean? Canelo is a massive star, and to go to Texas, I mean, chances are you're not going to get a fair result on the scorecard yourself. So if it goes to points, then God knows what to expect. Do you know what I mean? But listen, he's a Brit at the end of the day. I'm patriotic at heart, and I hope he does well.
Was you shocked when it was announced? Because a lot of big fights, we sort of get to see the negotiating process. Eddie will be very open with channels like us, and there'll be articles coming out, etc. But there was sort of one ESPN article that said rumoured Canelo-Smith for Texas. And next thing you know, it's announced. It all come around quite quickly. Was you shocked?
Not yeah, a little bit, I suppose, because I was expecting him to fight Yildirim. Then there was a lot of smoke being blown around Caleb Plant, and I mean, obviously Billy Joe had a fight lined up, and I know Callum was scheduled to box in December, but I thought it'd probably just be like a routine, maybe like a just a voluntary defence. But I think it is good though. You know what I mean? It shows that now that Canelo's a free agent and working on his own, that he can get deals done a lot quicker and with a lot more red tape in the way. So they've got it done. They've got it over the line quick. And you know what? When there's not too much public knowledge of something happening, I suppose it's a lot easier to do it and there's a lot less pressure. So I think it's, listen, I think if a lot more fights can get made like that and get made a lot quicker, then so be it.
I remember when I come to see you at the Matchroom Gym in Essex, I think that was August time, and Bernard Hopkins obviously works with Golden Boy. You had a name on his lips. It was sort of Canelo and John Ryder is not nailed on, but that was where the smoke was. And yeah, that sort of evaporated very quickly. Can you sort of tell us what happened there, John?
I don't even know if there was an offer really made, but listen, I put my name in the hat. It was all going around. It gone a bit quiet, and listen, I wasn't up to much. I was just ticking over in the gym, so I was fit. I was getting ready, and if it come about, then I would have jumped at the chance. But nothing come of it, and then all the talk with like Yildirim started with OBC and whatnot, and I just thought my chance had passed in a way. And even when like he'd become a free agent, I didn't thought it'd be much chance. I always thought that he'd head towards the champion. If it weren't Yildirim, then possibly Plant and Canelo-Smith, or maybe he'd wait till the new year and try and get Billy Joe.
Well, it is Callum, so whatever was up in the air now, it is Callum. It is in December and it is in Texas. How does he go out there and how does he beat Canelo? Because like you said, you're unlikely to get a fair share on the scorecard. So does he have to go at Canelo from round one and, I don't know, try and take his head off?
Listen, I think he just boxed to his strengths. Do you know what I mean? I see a clip of him, a picture, and I think there's getting quite a lot of stick about it, like boxing from a crouch position. But I think as a taller fighter, it makes a lot of sense. Drop your level down to Canelo's level and give him the full length for your reach. Do you know what I mean? You've got a massive reach advantage. Use it against him. And I mean, we know Canelo is good at getting in close and really firing them body shots in. But listen, if he can't roll under his shots, then he can't get close. Do you know what I mean? So if Callum can box in a squat position and do it for the 12 rounds and be sensible and not get tagged, then perfect technique. Do you know what I mean? Perfect way to go. But it's Canelo, isn't it? He's a special breed of fighter. We see him against Kovalev. Although I thought at the time of the stoppage, Kovalev was probably head on the cards, and I think he was. But I mean, we've seen that Canelo can be beat and can be not troubled, but he's been out of box. He's been out of box by Mayweather. He's come back. He's regrouped. He's got better. He's improved no end. He's then, in my eyes, got beat by Golovkin in the first fight. But look, he's gone away, regrouped, and worked on things, and he's come back, and in the second fight, showed what he's all about. So he's a real pro. Do you know what I mean? If he makes one mistake, you know he's going to come back and rectify that and be a more complete fighter.
Do you look at this from the perspective now that whatever you do, there will always be, whether it be 5% demand, there will always be some demand for you and Callum to get back in the ring together? Do you look at it from the perspective that if Callum wins, that's a fight that's nailed on for you? So that's sort of the reasoning why you'd want Callum to win rather than Canelo, because it's more likely for you to, you know, end your career having been in with Callum twice than Canelo once.
Yeah, I mean, listen, best fights possible, but you know what I mean, if Callum goes in there and beats Canelo, what more is there for him to achieve? Do you know what I mean? He's probably like, as boxing goes, he's completed life, isn't he? Really, there's nowhere else for him to go, is there? Unless he wants to go up to 175 and unified division there and pick up titles. But I mean, I'd love the rematch. Do you know what I mean? I'd love the rematch with Callum. I'd love the rematch with Billy Joe. I'd love the rematch with Rocky Fielding. They're all fights I felt like I'd done well in and should have got more out of.
What was the situation with you and Billy Joe? Because I know that when Tony spoke to Coogan in the bubble for the Conor Benn fight week, he said that your name was sort of put forward. We know Billy Joe's sort of timing has been off around the Canelo fight, sort of, and we never really knew when he was going to be ready. And then obviously the fight with Martin was announced. But how serious was the talks surrounding you and Billy?
I think it was just more tongue in cheek, really. I mean, we was in the office and we was trying to get into the idea about getting a fight date and asking what everyone was doing, and he said like Billy Joe was likely to fight Martin Murray, and we said like Tony said, well, John will do it for the same as what Martin was doing it for. So I don't think it was going to make financial sense with it being behind closed doors for Eddie or Billy Joe. Do you know what I mean? It's a big fight for probably a reduced pay that he's getting. So yeah, I think rightly so. We save it for another day. And I mean, even for Billy Joe and the Canelo fight, I mean, at the start of the year, it made sense on May 5th, and we would have had like adequate time to get ready. But then when they're sticking a date on him 8 weeks' time after we've been in a 3-month lockdown, it takes a bigger man to say, no, I'm not ready, I won't be ready, and I'm not really going to dance to your tune. So fair play to him on that. But I know, obviously, the rules have been relaxed a lot more now. We can get in the gym. Callum's been in the gym probably a long time, training towards a date in December, and he's got the biggest prize in boxing now. He's got the golden ticket in fighting Canelo.
Is that what it's about when you've got someone like Canelo in your division? You said fair play to Billy, and credit to him for not just sort of sucking up to the pressure and saying, look, because it's a big fight, I'm going to take it when I ain't fully ready. Is it about sort of holding off and going, you know what, just because from a financial standpoint, you're worth 10 times me, just because from a marketing standpoint, you're worth 10 times me, doesn't mean I should take the fight when I don't feel like I'm ready?
Surely from a financial perspective, it's got to be harder to say no to it than say yes to it. Do you know what I mean? If they're offering you X amount and you say no, this is a certain amount you're not earning. Do you know what I mean? Where you could say yes, just shows he's a serious champion. Do you know what I mean? He's serious about keeping his belts, and I think fair play to him. I mean, he didn't have adequate time. I'm sure Callum has. He's been back in the gym now for some time. And listen, you take these chances when you're ready. You shouldn't be forced into them.
Talk to me about the Martin Murray fight. So I think this is his 5th world title fight, Martin Murray. And as everyone sort of in the boxing community knows, especially in this country, he's been outdone by a couple of times. He probably should have been world champion at least twice. Probably the lowest odds, I believe, out of the 5 world title fights he would have had, Martin. But do you see that as a good fight? Because it has come under some heavy criticism, probably because of the ends of the spectrum of their career that they're at.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what it is? Boxing's fickle, isn't it? And then obviously Martin's had a bit of time out of the ring. I think he's not boxed in a year either. So, I mean, I think he was toying with the thing of retirement. So this is like one last hurrah. And yeah, he's had some times when he should have won world titles, and what times when he can't have short. And you look at it, he went to Argentina and fought Sergio Martinez and should have really come away as a champion, but got absolutely head over out there. And just a shame, really, because he should have been cemented as a world champion and had that legacy for the rest of his life.
Enough on everyone else. For you. Yes, you said you want to get out before the end of the year. There's 2 sort of solid confirmed dates, and they're both big cards as well. One of them being the Canelo and Callum-Smith date in Texas on, what's that, December 19th? I don't get my dates wrong here.
December 19th, yeah.
19th, yeah. And then obviously the AJ Pulev card. Yeah, talk to me, John.
Either date, do you know what I mean? I'm ready. I will travel. I'm willing to get on an airplane for the first time this year, if need be. I just want to get out. I want to shake off the ring rust. I don't want to leave it any more than it has been. I spend at the ring. I don't want to go a full year not boxing, a full calendar year. Sorry. It's already been over a year now that I haven't fought in, so I'm just eager to get in there. I'm training hard. I've been in the gym such a long time now. I need this reward at the end of this light at the end of the tunnel, just to get in there and have a fight and come back, enjoy Christmas and build for a bigger 2021 and get back in the gym after the new year.
Because all the names you've been linked with, bar perhaps David Lemieux, scheduled in for fights, Danny Jacobs fights Gabe Rosado this weekend. Could we get a little eyebrow raiser? Do you reckon, even if it is perhaps an 8-rounder, a 10-rounder, I don't know, could we get a little eyebrow raise where people go, you know what, it's a pretty good fight? Or is it just going to be something that, you know, you're looking to tick over and just, you know, maybe warm up for a big 2021? Or could we get a little banger?
I really don't know. Do you know what I mean? I know that the likes of Lemieux and Chudnoff have spoke about, and they wouldn't be ready in time for either of those shows. So I'm just going to take what they bring my way, as long as it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? I have had a year at the ring, but I do want to work towards a big 2021. So let's just take the steps in the right direction, get back to winning ways, and just work to a big fight in the start of the year.
This big fight, does it have to be a world title fight? Because Danny Jacobs was a name mentioned alongside you, and that was one that was spoken about for the States as well. Obviously, he's fighting Gabe Rosado, like I said, this weekend. But, I mean, surely that's a fight you've got to jump at. The names he's been in with, pedigree holds, not just over here, but in the States. Surely that's one that you've got to jump at if you get that chance next year.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that's what I want. I want the biggest and best fights out there. I obviously want to achieve the childhood dream of becoming a world champion, and listen, all fair in that, then let's take on the best names in the sport, and Danny Jacobs is well up there.
And him and Gabe Rosado, perhaps unfairly viewed Gabe Rosado at times, because I think he's got 12 losses. I think he's got over half losses compared to the amount of wins he's got, but you know when he turns up that he's going to bring it.
Listen, without sounding cheeky, I mean, if it wasn't for Gabe Rosado, would you really know that Danny Jacobs was fighting this weekend? He's good value. He's selling the fight. He's obviously got a bit of needle there with Danny Jacobs, and listen, he's playing his part as the bad guy, and we all know like Danny Jacobs is the good guy. He's got like what a story. I mean, what a comeback he's done, and like to take your hat off to him. But like Gabe Rosado is really selling this fight, and look, he's no mug. Do you know what I mean? He's had some harsh results on his career. Look, when he took the Golovkin fight, he was mandatory. He was number one contender at light middleweight, and then he stepped up to fight Golovkin, the monster. Do you know what I mean? He was banging everyone out at the time. So listen, he's got plenty of bottle, and he'll get in there and give it his all.
I want to talk about certain Mr. Joe Gallagher. Obviously, we spoke about, it's been a year since Liverpool now, and he was someone who played quite a pivotal role, I guess, in the post-fight reaction / build-up. Have you been following his comments lately, John? He's been mentioning potential rematches for his fighter, when obviously he held a different stance this time last year in regards to you and Callum. Have you been following that closely?
I've seen the bits with Terry Harper and Natasha Jonas, and look, do you know what? I watched the fight, and I thought it was a harsh decision. Do you know what I mean? She should have come away with something from that. And listen, I can't side with give her an immediate rematch when you told someone to stop fucking asking when it was down to me. Do you know what I mean? So listen, he wants what's best for him. I think he slithered into the dressing room if you talk to certain people, but yeah, you know, he was only doing his job. Young boy, up and coming, didn't really deserve the treatment he got. He was just he was prodding the fire, wasn't he? And he got a reaction. But look, as a manager, you can't knock him. He's trying to do what's best for his fighters, and he's making the right noise. Do you know what I mean?
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.